Okay, so are we ready to get spooky?
You know it.
All right, so it's officially like spooky season, right? And you know what that means?
Oh, yeah.
Black cats everywhere.
Everywhere.
You can't escape them.
Well, everything.
Yeah, like I was at the store the other day, just overwhelmed, inundated.
Oh, totally.
Inflatable pumpkins, bags of candy corn.
Yep.
Everything has a black cat on it.
Like the unofficial mascot.
Right, like, is it even Halloween if there's not a black cat, like, plastered on it?
Right.
But you know what I was thinking about the other day?
Hmm.
Have you ever wondered, like, why? Why are these mysterious felines so tied to, like, this time of year?
It is kind of weird when you actually think about it.
It is weird. So today, let's ditch the plastic skeletons and dive into the real story, the history behind black cats and Halloween.
Let's get spooky.
Let's do it. So to kick things off, I think it's important to remember that our modern view of black cats, you know, the whole spooky thing, it's not exactly universal.
Right.
In fact, it's a pretty wild ride through history. Our expert here, they've dug through all sorts of fascinating sources on this.
Yeah.
What did you find? Like, where do we even begin with these little guys?
Well, let's go back, way back. I'm talking ancient Egypt.
Oh.
You think spooky decorations now,
Right.
but back then they were worshipped?
Worshipped, like,
Yeah.
seriously.
Oh, yeah, especially the black ones.
Get out of here.
Seriously. They were considered, like, divine.
Okay, that's like the opposite of spooky.
Right, a complete 180.
So how did we go from divine creatures to spooky Halloween decorations? Like, someone needs to call their publicist. This is a nightmare.
It's a long story.
Uh-huh.
Centuries in the making.
Ah.
Yeah, but it's a mix of, like, cultural beliefs, you know, changing times, and honestly, some serious fear-mongering along the way.
Oh, I knew it. There's always fear-mongering.
Right. Always. So let's start with the Celts.
Hmm.
They had this belief that people dabbling in dark magic could, get this, transform into animals.
Okay, things are starting to get a little spooky.
Right. And at the top of that shape-shifting list,
Don't tell me.
black cats.
Figures. So is this like the witchy connection we've all been waiting for?
It's definitely a big piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
And it goes even deeper, right?
Yeah.
So the Celts, they celebrated this festival, Samhain.
Samhain, right, I've heard of that.
Yeah, it marked the end of the harvest season, kind of like their version of Halloween.
Okay.
And they believed that on October 31st, the veil between, you know, the living and the dead was thin.
Spooky.
Right. Spirits could cross over.
Oh, no.
And guess what some of those spirits like to take the form of?
Black cats! I knew it!
Bingo! And to, you know, keep those spirits happy, especially the big guy in charge, they would make offerings.
Okay, who's the big guy?
The Lord of the Dead.
Oh, right, yeah, yeah.
So they would make offerings to, you know, keep things chill.
Right.
And often,
Hmm?
black cats were on the menu, sadly.
Oh, no, poor kitties. Okay, so that's kind of messed up, but we're still not quite at the, like, which is familiar thing, right?
Not quite. That's where the early Christian church comes in.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh, is right.
Here we go.
So as Christianity spread anything that wasn't, you know, part of their belief system,
Yeah.
got a bad rap, seen as dangerous or, you know, straight up evil.
Right, right.
And they saw how connected women were to nature.
How much they cared for animals.
Right.
And instead of seeing the beauty in that, you know, they
Yeah.
twisted it, turned it into something sinister.
So they became the witches.
Exactly. Their connection to nature, to animals, especially cats. Proof of their so-called evil ways. And of course, their cats, especially the black ones.
Guilty by association.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
all about the guilt by association. So now you've got this image, right?
Yeah.
The witch and her black cat, familiar.
Yeah. Spooky, but it really all comes down to fear, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Fear and propaganda.
Yeah. So fast forward a bit. We've
Yeah.
got Pope Gregory the Next, 1233.
Oh, yeah. Big year for black cats. Not a good word.
Not a good year. He basically goes on record officially declaring black cats as
Demonic figures.
straight up.
Talk about a PR nightmare.
Seriously, who needs enemies with that kind of publicity? And it just gets worse from there.
Oh, no.
Yeah. A few centuries later, the Black Death hits.
Oof. Things are going from bad to worse. That's when black cats really get a bad rap, right?
Right. I mean, the Black Death was devastating, right? Wiping out huge portions of Europe.
Yeah.
And people, they needed someone to blame.
Of course.
So naturally, they turn on those already, you know, demonized.
His riches and your feline friends.
Yep. The blame game was already in version.
Talk about a raw deal.
Seriously. And the irony is, cats, especially those good mousers, you know, they were actually helping control the very rat population that was spreading the plague.
Oh, the irony. So they're like, you're helping, you're out. Oh, man, poor kitties. But it doesn't end there, does it? I mean, this fear, this superstition, it crosses the Atlantic with the colonists.
Sadly, yes. Those superstitions, they hopped right on the Mayflower.
So those poor black cats sailed right over to America with a target on their back.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like those superstitions, they were baggage. Those colonists just couldn't leave behind.
Oh, man, talk about a rough start in the New World.
Yeah, not exactly a warm welcome.
So are we about to unpack another PR nightmare for black cats in America?
You could say that. You see, the Puritans, with their strict religious beliefs,
Oh, yeah, very strict.
they were terrified of anything they saw as, ungodly or of the devil.
Right. Yeah.
So those old world superstitions about black cats and witches.
Fit right into their worldview.
Oh, yeah, like a glove. And, well, this fear, this paranoia, it all came to a head in Salem, Massachusetts.
Okay, here we go. Salem, the witch trials.
Exactly. Those witch trials are a chilling example of how, fear and paranoia,
Yeah.
especially when it's fueled by superstition,
Right.
it can have really tragic consequences. And just like in Europe, black cats were seen as, proof.
The mark of the devil.
Right. Like if you had a black cat, you were obviously up to no good.
So basically it was a bad time to be a black cat in Salem.
Let's just say you didn't want to be taught hanging around those accused of witchcraft.
Oh, no. So what happened to them?
Sadly, many black cats were killed right alongside those accused. It was all part of this frenzy,
Just heartbreaking.
It really is. I mean, imagine these innocent animals caught in the crosshairs of this hysteria.
It's hard to believe that those superstitions have lasted so long. Even today, people still say black cats crossing your path is bad luck.
I know, right? It's crazy how some beliefs just stick around.
It really is. But why do you think that is?
Well, think about it. For centuries, people were told these stories, right?
Right.
That a black cat, it could be a witch in disguise, or even, get this, the devil himself.
Oh, come on.
I know, it sounds ridiculous now, but back then, it was serious business.
No, I get it. But still.
That kind of fear, when it's passed down through generations, it gets under your skin.
It becomes ingrained.
Exactly, like a cultural inheritance we don't even realize we're carrying.
Okay, but here's the thing that I don't get.
Yeah.
Black cats aren't universally seen as bad luck.
That's true. It really depends where you are in the world,
Yeah, it's like our perspective is totally shaped by where we come from.
100%. It just goes to show there's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to cultural beliefs,
So, where are black cats seen as good luck?
Oh, all sorts of places. Like in Scotland, if a black cat shows up on your doorstep, that's a sign of good fortune coming your way.
Get out.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And then you've got Japan.
Okay.
Black cats there. They're symbols of love and good luck.
Ah, see, I like that version much better.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like those little guys are walking good luck charms.
It just goes to show that what we think of as like common knowledge or whatever
Yeah.
is often just a product of like what we were told growing up.
Absolutely. We inherit these beliefs without even realizing it.
It's like, what other assumptions are we carrying around that we need to like unpack
Right. It's a good reminder to always question what we think we know.
for real?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've talked about ancient cultures, superstitions, but we can't forget about pop culture.
Oh, yeah. Black cats are all over pop culture.
I mean, it's everywhere. Think about it. Hocus Pocus, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I mean, what would Halloween movies and shows be without them?
Right. They're practically honorary members of the Addams family at this point.
Totally. But what I find interesting is how they're portrayed.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag, isn't it?
Sometimes there's still those spooky familiars, up to no good.
Right, keeping those old stereotypes alive.
But other times, they're like companions,
Yeah.
even protectors.
Yeah, like they're finally getting some good PR.
Right. Like in Practical Magic, those black cats were like furry guardians for those witchy sisters.
Totally. And let's not forget Salem, the talking cat from Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Oh, yeah. He was the best.
Yeah.
Full of sass.
Right. A far cry from those silent, spooky familiars of the past.
It's like our view of black cats, at least in pop culture. It's
Yeah.
evolving.
Slowly but surely.
Right. So do you think this shift in how we're portraying them on screen says something about like changing attitudes towards women?
Ooh, interesting question. It just might.
Especially like women who defy expectations, who are like independent and like embrace their individuality.
Right, like they're not afraid to be different, just like those black cats,
Exactly. Maybe those old stereotypes, at least about black cats, they're starting to lose their grip a bit.
Fingers crossed.
I know, right? But it's just too bad that in the real world, they're still facing an uphill battle.
It's true. I mean, have you seen the euthanasia rates for black cats in shelters?
It's heartbreaking.
It really is. They're often overlooked simply because of their fur color.
It's like we say we're over those old superstitions, but are we really?
It's like those unconscious biases are hard to shake, even when we know better.
It really makes you think about all those, like, decorations we put up.
Right. Like, are we part of the problem?
Seriously, it's like I love a good spooky vibe as much as the next person, but are we accidentally, like, making things worse for black cats?
It's a good question. Like, we often don't think about the impact of those decorations, those images. We just see them as harmless fun.
Yeah, but like you were saying, those images, they have power.
Oh, absolutely. They can reinforce these negative stereotypes without us even realizing it.
It's true. It's like we need to be more mindful.
Definitely. Think about the message we're sending, even with something as simple as a Halloween decoration.
I know, right? Like, this whole conversation has really got me thinking.
Oh, yeah.
What if by, like, challenging those superstitions about black cats,
Yeah.
we're actually challenging something much bigger?
I like where you're going with this.
Like, this whole history of judging anything or anyone, that's different.
That's a really interesting way to look at it. It's like the black cat becomes this symbol for, anyone who's been marginalized, misunderstood.
Right, just for being who they are.
Exactly. And by choosing to see past those stereotypes, by embracing those differences, it's like we're fighting back against centuries of prejudice.
That's pretty powerful. So next time I'm, like, tempted to buy that inflatable black cat, I'm going to think twice.
Me too. Maybe we should all just get black cats as pets instead.
Right. Put your money where your mouth is, right?
Exactly. Support your local shelter, adopt a black cat.
They really are the best. All right, well, that was quite a journey, wasn't it?
It really was.
We went from ancient Egypt to the Salem witch trials to modern-day movies.
Talk about a whirlwind.
It's amazing how these little creatures, they've been tangled up in history, superstition, pop culture. I mean, talk about 9 lives.
Right. Black cats really have seen it all.
They really have. But you know what? If there's one thing I hope our listeners take away from this, it's this. Don't judge a cat by its fur coat, and always question your assumptions.
Well said. Because those black cats, they're more than just Halloween decorations.
They're a reminder that there's always more to the story. So, until next time, stay spooky, but stay mindful.
And don't forget to give a black cat a scratch behind the ears for me.